Hello everybody and welcome back to the 2000 Cayley paper put out by the University of Waterloo. We're up to question number 8, which involves a family road trip, I guess. On a 240-kilometer trip, Corey's father drove 1/2 of the distance, his mother drove 3/8 of the distance, total distance, and Corey drove the remaining distance. How many kilometers did Corey drive? Okay, there's a couple ways to do this question. First, what we could do, which I'm not going to do, is we know that Corey's father drove 1/2 the distance, his mother drove 3/8 the distance. We could figure out what fraction of the distance Corey drove. Multiply that by 240 and figure out how many kilometers he drove. That's perfectly valid, and if you did it that way, congratulations. That's a perfectly excellent, fantastic way to do it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to break it down and say, well, his father drove 1/2 the distance. How many kilometers is that? His mother drove 3/8 the distance. How much is that? Once I have those two in kilometers, I subtract them off of the total length of the trip, and that'll tell me how many kilometers Corey drove. Okay? So his father drove 1/2 of the total 240 kilometers. So that means his father drove 120 kilometers. You can check that with a calculator, or maybe you just know how to divide that in your head. Now the more challenging one, his mother drove 3/8 of the total distance. That's still of 240 kilometers. That's going to be 8 divided by 24 is 3, so 30 kilometers times 3. So she drove 90 kilometers. But let's just double check that on calculator right now. 240 multiplied by 3/8 is indeed 90 kilometers. So Corey drove, well, he drove the remainder of the distance. So the total trip was 240 minus what his father drove minus what his mother drove. So that's going to be 240 kilometers minus 120 kilometers minus 90 kilometers. And that should be, I think, 30 kilometers. But again, I have a calculator. There's no reason not to use it. Yep, it is 30 kilometers. So we're searching for an answer of 30 kilometers in amongst the multiple choice answers. And 80, 40, 210, 30. So Corey drove 30 kilometers. So that's an answer of D. So join me in the next video as we take a look at question number 9 on the 2000 Cayley. And of course, if you're liking the contest so far, feel free to throw a like on the video. And even if you want to, by all means, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys regardless for question number 9 in the next video.